What is good, everybody? I am back with a brand new video, and today we're going to be discussing why it's so important to understand the different types of disc plastic. Now, this was one of my biggest questions when I started playing disc golf. Was people would be asking me, do you have a champion strike or do you have a star strike? How do they fly? And I would be thinking to myself, I don't really know, but what's it matter? It's the same exact mold. It really just comes down to those are two different types of plastics in the same mold. One of the main reasons to understand disc plastic is because it can affect the stability of that disc. Now, disc golf companies have a pretty wide spectrum of different plastics, especially nowadays, all the way from premium plastic to your baseline plastic, and there's quite a few in between there, kind of filling some slots up. Typically, your baseline plastic is going to be the least stable. It's probably the most beginner friendly. I know Innova's starter pack, I think, is all DX. It's 3 discs and they're in DX plastic. So typically those are going to be a lot less stable for beginners. Your baseline plastic is also going to be in faster, meaning the true flight of that disc might not hold so true after a long span of time. Once it gets beaten in, once you hit a few trees with it, it will most likely fly more understable than it originally did. Now, this is pretty true for most discs, but when you get into your premium plastics like Champion, Halo for Innova, they should be more durable, meaning that flight should stay pretty true for a much longer span of time than, say, their baseline plastic DX would last. I throw mostly Innova and Discraft, so I'm going to try to find a list of stability, the most stable to understable, and pop them up on the screen just so you guys can take a quick look. Definitely took me a long time to actually be in a store and see that plastic and be like, oh, that ranks here. In Innova, I don't even know fully Innova's line, mainly because I throw mostly Halo plastic in Innova, so that is their most premium plastic right now. My most extreme example of why disc plastic matters is definitely this Jawbreaker Scorch versus this Z-Scorch. For Discraft, Jawbreaker plastic beats in very, very quickly, and especially when they throw it on a driver, which isn't very typical, I don't believe, it definitely gets beat in very quickly. So when I throw this one, I can either hyzer flip it, and sometimes it'll even still roll, versus this Z-Scorch where it has a very nice flight, kind of flies like a Shrike. Gets a little bit of turn, or throw it on a Tat hyzer, maybe it'll flip up for you. This is a very extreme example of why disc plastic matters and how it can affect the disc. This isn't to say one plastic is worse than the other, it's really kind of what you want out of a disc. So after stability and durability, really, it comes down to the comfort level and how comfortable that plastic feels in your hand and what slot it's filling in your bag. So this is pretty important, especially for beginners, because when you're in the store, you might want something of less stability, which means you might want to try a DX versus their most premium plastic, just depending on what you would like out of that disc. I think most companies on their website have a full list of all the plastics and descriptions with them, kind of telling you a little bit more about them, because let me tell you, there's quite a lot of plastics out there now. Just remember, premium plastics aren't necessarily amazing. They're not necessarily the best disc you can buy. It's really just dependent on what you want out of that disc, and that there's a potential it flies slightly different, and in the long run, that disc is going to last you longer. That is all I have for you for this video. I hope this video helped you understand a little bit more about disc plastic and why it does matter. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Go follow ChasinChains_ on Instagram where I post there daily, and we'll see you in the next one.